I turned off the app because he offered to pay double. No GPS, no cameras, no record. 10 minutes later, I realized he already knew my name, and I had never told him. My name is Carlos. I've been driving for Uber for 3 years in Atlanta, Georgia. Always the night shift. That's when the money's best, when the rides pay the most. After my divorce, I needed every penny. Alimony, rent for a cramped apartment on the south side, overdue bills. Sleep became a luxury. Coffee became fuel. That night was like any other. Wednesday, 2:47 a.m., low fog covering I-285, temperature dropping to around 59 degrees Fahrenheit. I'd already completed 7 rides. I was tired, my back ached, and I was thinking about going home. But then the app beeped. Short ride, 15 minutes. Pickup in a remote neighborhood near College Park. Drop-off in an industrial area I vaguely recognized. $40. Not much, but it would pay for the next day's gas. I accepted. I arrived at the address 5 minutes later. A poorly lit street, old houses with bars on the windows, burnt-out lampposts, no movement, no lights on, just the fog dancing under the headlights of my white Sentra. He appeared out of nowhere. A man, between 40 and 50 years old perhaps. Dark clothing, black nylon jacket, cargo pants, unbranded sneakers, small backpack on his back. Ordinary face, but with the kind of expression you can't quite read. Too neutral. As if he were hiding something behind his eyes. He got into the back seat on the right-hand side, right behind me. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. I always feel uneasy when the passenger sits behind the driver. It gives you that feeling of vulnerability, you know? You can't see properly in the rearview mirror. "Good evening," I said, trying to maintain a professional tone. He didn't answer immediately. He just adjusted his backpack on his lap and looked at his cell phone. Then, in a low, calm, almost monotonous voice, he said, "Turn off the app." I looked in the rearview mirror. "Like this? Turn off the app. I'll pay in cash. That way you avoid fees too." That wasn't uncommon. Some passengers asked for it. Less of a footprint, less tax. I'd done it before, especially when money was tight. But something about his tone, I don't know. It seemed more like an order than a request. "Look, I prefer to leave it on, bro. It's safer I'll pay double." Silence. $80 in cash, no receipt. I hesitated. My hand was sweating as I pressed the direction. My head was screaming, "Don't do that." But my bank account was screaming louder. "Okay," I said, turning off the app. The screen went black. He adjusted his backpack again. I started the car and began driving, following the route I already knew by heart. Empty roads, intersections without traffic lights, fog engulfing the lampposts. That's when he started asking questions. "Do you live far away?" "Not really," I replied, trying to sound casual. "Do you work every day?" "Almost every day, yes. Is there a camera in here?" My stomach tightened. "No." "Why?" He didn't answer. He just kept looking out the window, but in the rearview mirror I could see he wasn't looking outside. He was looking at me through the reflection in the glass, studying me. I gripped the steering wheel and kept driving, but at that moment, I already knew. I shouldn't have accepted this ride. The questions didn't stop. "Do you live alone?" I pretended not to hear properly, keeping my eyes on the road. The fog was thicker now, obscuring the road signs. The Sentra's headlights barely cut through the darkness ahead. "Hi," I replied as if I were distracted. "I asked if you live alone." His voice remained calm, low, but there was something in it now, an insistence, as if he needed to know. "I have a roommate," I lied. My mouth was dry. Silence again. But it was worse than the questions, because in the silence I could hear his breathing, slow, controlled, as if he were measuring each breath, and I could hear the sound of the backpack moving on his lap, zippers, fabric rubbing. I tried to distract myself. I looked at the dashboard. GPS still working. 8 minutes to destination. Just hold on for another 8 minutes, I thought. But then he leaned slightly forward. Does anyone know where you are right now? My heart raced. What do you mean? I replied, trying to sound natural, but my voice came out a little shaky. Does anyone know you accepted this ride? I didn't know what to say. My mind went blank. Why, technically, nobody knew. I had turned off the app. No record, no trace. The app records everything automatically. I lied again, gripping the steering wheel tightly. He didn't answer. He just leaned back in his seat. But in the rearview mirror I saw he was smiling. Not a wide smile. Just a slight curve at the corner of his mouth, as if he knew I was lying. I tried turning on the radio. Anything to break that suffocating silence. Classic rock, news, anything. As soon as the music started, something by Fleetwood Mac, he said, "Turn that off." Dude, it's just music, I always turn it off. It wasn't a request, it was an order, firm, cold. I hung up. Silence returned. But now it was different. Heavy. As if the air inside the car had become thicker. I could hear my own heart beating. I could hear the rustle of his jacket when he moved. And then he said, almost as if he were thinking aloud, "I prefer silence. It allows for better thinking." What to think about? I didn't ask. I didn't want to know. I looked at the GPS again. 5 minutes. But then I realized something. The screen was frozen. The little blue arrow that showed my position was stopped. It wasn't moving. I tried touching the screen. Nothing. I swiped my finger. Nothing. Damn it, I murmured under my breath. Is there a problem? He asked, and for the first time I heard a different tone in his voice. Almost amused. The GPS froze, I replied, trying to restart the app. But the phone screen started flickering. Then it went black, completely black. I tried calling again. Nothing. It must be the fog, I said, more to myself than to him. Signal interference. Relax, he said, his voice now sounding closer, as if he'd leaned in again. I know the way. My blood ran cold. I looked in the rearview mirror, and he was there, closer than before, his eyes fixed on me, without blinking. And then, very quietly, almost a whisper. Keep driving, Carlos. I had never given my name before. I had never, at any point, given my name. My fingers started trembling on the steering wheel. My breathing became irregular. And all I could think was, how does he know my name? How does he know my name? My throat was closed up. I tried to swallow, but it felt like there was a rock stuck there. How do you know my name? He didn't answer. He just stared. That fixed, emotionless look, as if he were waiting to see what I would do. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he saw it on the app before I hung up. Maybe he saw my name on the car's license plate. Maybe. But it didn't have a license plate. I had taken it off months ago, after a drunk passenger ripped it off and threw it out the window. I kept driving. I didn't know what to do anymore. The road was getting emptier and emptier. The streetlights had gone out. There was only darkness and fog, and that man was behind me. The phone remained dead in its holder. Black screen. No signal. No GPS. Nothing. Turn left here, he said suddenly. I looked ahead. There was no sign, no landmark, just a narrow, unlit secondary road. Dude, that's not the way to go. I know this region. It's for turn left. The tone changed. It was no longer calm. It was definitive, threatening. I'll come. The asphalt gave way to gravel. The trees grew denser on both sides. Low branches scraped against the roof of the car. The sound of tires crunching pebbles was the only sound besides our breathing. I saw a bright light ahead. An old gas station. Broken sign. Half the lights were out. But there was still a car parked there. There was still a light on inside. My mind raced. Stop. Stop now. Scream. Run. Do something. I started to slow down. "What are you doing?" he asked. "I need gasoline," I lied, my voice trembling. "It is not necessary." "Dude, the tank's almost empty. No, stop, here." His voice cut through the air like a blade. I kept slowing down. The gas station was about 50 meters away. I just needed to stop, honk, yell, anything. 40 meters. 30. And then I felt it. Something cold touched the back of my neck. It wasn't a hand. It was metal, ice cream, firm. My breath stopped. "I told you," he whispered, his mouth now close to my ear, "not to stop here." My vision blurred. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the steering wheel. I drove right past the gas station. The man behind the counter didn't even look. The light faded behind us, and darkness returned. "Keep driving," he said, pulling the metal away from my neck, but I could still feel the cold tingling on my skin. I obeyed. My legs were weak. My whole body was trembling. I was sweating cold even with the air conditioning off. The gravel road continued. No houses, no streetlights, nothing. "Slow down," he ordered. I slowed down. "Turn right." I turned around. Now it was a dirt track. You could hardly call it a road. Tall grass on both sides. Branches scratching the sides of the car. And then, ahead, in the middle of the fog, I saw the silhouette. A shed. Old. Abandoned. Rusty metal walls. Broken windows. Door ajar. "Stop here," he said. I stopped the car. The engine was still running. My fingers gripped the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles were white. My breathing was rapid and shallow. I was in pure panic. But he didn't leave. He just stood there, sitting, in silence. I looked in the rearview mirror. He was staring at me, without blinking, without moving, like a statue. And then I heard it. The sound of a zipper opening, slowly, methodical. He was opening his backpack. My mind just broke down. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me here. Nobody knows where I am. Nobody will find me. "Please," my voice came out as a broken whisper. "I have a daughter. I just want to work. I don't—" "I know," he interrupted, in that calm, almost gentle voice. "That's why I chose you." Those words made no sense. No sense at all. But they were the ones who made me decide. I was going to run. My right hand was on the doorknob. My whole body was tense, ready to explode. I just needed a second. A second of distraction. Open the door, run, scream, anything. But then he spoke again. "Don't do that," as if he knew, as if he were reading my mind. "I don't want to hurt you, Carlos, but if you get out of this car now, I'm going to have to." His voice was almost sad, as if he really didn't want to. But he would do it anyway. My hand let go of the doorknob. I was frozen, paralyzed with fear. "Good," he said. "Now turn around and face me." "What? Turn? To me?" I didn't want to. Every fiber of my being screamed not to turn around, not to look, because the moment I turned around, I would see what was inside the backpack, and I didn't want to know. But my body obeyed. Slowly, I turned in my seat, and I looked back. He was there, sitting, with his backpack open on his lap, and inside it, papers, just paperwork. Stacks of papers, yellowed, old, with photos held together by clips, documents, handwritten notes. He had no weapon. He had no knife. He had nothing. My mind went blank. I was expecting the worst, but it was just paper. He picked up one of the documents. He turned to me, and then I saw. It was a photograph, my photo, leaving my apartment, getting in the car, grabbing coffee at Waffle House, driving. Dozens of photos, all of them of me. My stomach churned. "What? What is this?" I managed to stammer. "Research," he replied, as if it were obvious. I need someone specific. Someone who drives alone, at night, without cameras, without reliable tracking. Someone who won't be immediately sought out. Tears began to burn my eyes. I didn't do anything. I know. It's not about what you did. It's about what you can do. He put the papers back and closed his backpack. He looked at me with those empty eyes. You're going to take me somewhere else. And after that, you'll never see me again. But you'll remember this night for the rest of your life. And every time you pick up a late-night fare, every time a passenger sits behind you, you'll wonder, could it be him again? He smiled, a small smile, cold, and you'll never know. I couldn't breathe. My chest was tight. My vision was blurred. My whole body was shaking. Please, I whispered, just let me go. He tilted his head as if he were considering it. Not yet. And then he pointed ahead. He directs. I turned back to the steering wheel. I put my hand on the gear shift. My legs barely responded, but I started the car again. And I started driving. We continued for another 10 minutes, or maybe it was 20. I didn't know anymore. Time had lost its meaning. There was only the road, the fog, and him, until he said, "Stop here." I stopped. We were in the middle of nowhere. Tall grass, no lights, no sounds except for crickets and the engine. He opened the door. He grabbed his backpack. He went out, and he stood outside, looking at me through the window. "Thanks for the ride, Carlos." And then he simply started walking into the woods, into the darkness, without haste, as if nothing had happened. I stood there, sitting, trembling, unable to process what had just happened. After a while, I don't know how long, I sped up, and I ran away. I fled from that place, from that road, from that night. But I knew I would never have been able to escape him. I drove for an hour, perhaps more. I don't remember exactly. My mind was in pieces. I only knew that I needed to get out of there. I needed to find a familiar road. I needed to get back to civilization. My eyes burned. My body trembled so much I could barely hold the steering wheel. At every turn, I looked in the rearview mirror hoping to see him there, sitting again, smiling. But the back seat was empty. Eventually, I found I-85. Lights, cars, people, reality. I pulled over to the side of the road. I turned off the engine, and I cried. I cried like an idiot, my hands covering my face, my body shaking. I couldn't stop. All that tension, all that fear. It all came out at once. After a few minutes, I picked up my cell phone. It was working again. 3:38 a.m., as if nothing had happened, as if the signal had returned on its own. I thought about calling the police. I thought about reporting it. But what could I say? A guy got in my car, made me turn off the app, took me to an abandoned warehouse, showed me pictures of myself, and then just left. They would think I was on drugs, or crazy, or lying to hide something. So I just went home. I locked the door. I locked the windows. I turned on all the lights, and I sat on the sofa staring at the wall, trying to understand. Why did he choose me? What did he mean by, "What can I do?" Was he coming back? In the following days, I tried to act normal. I started driving again. I tried to forget, but it was impossible. Every time the app beeped at night, my heart raced. Every time someone got into the back seat, I looked in the rearview mirror searching for that face, those empty eyes. And then, a week later, it happened. I was lying down, trying to sleep, when my cell phone vibrated. A message, unknown number, shelter, and my blood froze. "Thank you for the ride. I'll need another one soon." Below the message, a photo from my building, taken that night. I dropped my phone. It fell to the floor. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. He knew where I lived. He always knew. I blocked the number. I deleted the message. But it didn't help, because 2 days later I received another one, another number, same message. You drove well, until next time. I changed my number. I moved apartments. I stopped driving at night. I only accepted rides during the day now, only in busy places, never alone. But sometimes when I drive down that road near College Park, I see it. Cars parked in strange places, alone, with no one inside. And I wonder, did he find someone else? Is he still watching me? Did I really escape? Or was that night just the beginning? I don't know. And that's the part that scares me the most. Because every time I look in the rearview mirror, every time I see someone sitting behind me, for a fraction of a second I see he, and I'll never know if he'll come back, or maybe he never really left. The app booked a ride on a nearly dark street. When I got there, nobody was waiting. And that was the first mistake of the night. Something happened to me 3 weeks ago, and since then, I can't drive without looking back. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I drive at night. I've always driven. 4 years doing rideshare driving, always the graveyard shift, when the city is empty and the money is better. I know every street in Portland, every dimly lit alley, every corner where the streetlight burned out, and nobody came to fix it. That night was like any other. 2:30 in the morning, a light drizzle, wet streets reflecting the red neon of the traffic lights. I was parked near a bar that was about to close, waiting for some drunk to need a ride. That's when my cell phone vibrated. VIP race. I almost ignored it. Usually these premium rides are scams. People cancel at the last second just to screw us over. But the tip caught my attention. $60. 60 for a 15-minute ride. I accepted without thinking. The address was in an area I knew, but never at dawn. An old industrial area, near the abandoned warehouses on the east side of the highway. A place where the factories closed 10 years ago, leaving only concrete skeletons. No movement, no cameras, nothing. As I was driving, I started to feel that tightness in my chest. You know when you know something's wrong, but you can't explain it? The street was too dark. 3 lampposts in a row were burned out. The houses, if you could even call them houses, had their windows boarded up. Not a single car parked, not a single dog barking. Silence. I stopped at the exact address. A single-story house, peeling paint, rusty fence. No lights on. I waited. 1 minute. 2. 3. Nothing. I thought about canceling. My hand was already on my phone when I heard the car door open. She came in quickly, so quickly I didn't even see where she came from. She slammed the door shut, threw a backpack on the seat, and pulled the hood of her sweatshirt forward, covering half her face. "He directs." The voice was low, hoarse, breathless. "Hi. Are you the passenger on the VIP ride?" I tried to sound professional, but my voice came out strange. "Drive. Now." I looked in the rearview mirror. She was hunched over, looking back out the window. Her hands were trembling, dirty fingernails, rapid breathing. "Is everything all right? Do you need—" "I just need you to drive." Something in her tone made me shut up. I shifted gears. I accelerated slowly, feeling the weight of the silence inside the car. She didn't touch her phone. She didn't say where she was going. She just kept looking back, tense, as if she were expecting something. That's when I saw it. A car, black, headlights off, standing on the other side of the street. And when I passed by, he started the engine. I tried to convince myself it was a coincidence. Cars start their engines. People leave home in the early hours of the morning. Normal. But that car, he didn't turn on the headlights. I turned left at the first corner, just to test it. I looked in the rearview mirror. The black car turned too, slowly, keeping its distance, as if it didn't want to be noticed. but at the same time, didn't care. "Is he following you?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She didn't answer. She just curled up further in her seat, pulling her knees to her chest. The hood still covered her face, but I could see the side. Pale skin, a strand of dark hair stuck to her wet cheek, sweat, or tears. "Miss, if you're in danger, I'll take you to the nearest police station." "There's one 10 minutes from here." "No." The word came out like a shot, dry, final. "What do you mean, no? If someone is stalking you?" "I said no." She took a deep breath, then spoke more softly, almost whispering. "Trust me. Don't go to the police station. Don't stop anywhere. Just drive." My heart was beating faster now. I gripped the steering wheel, feeling the cool leather beneath my fingers. The street ahead was empty, illuminated only by my headlights, cutting through the fog that was beginning to rise from the asphalt. I made another turn. Right this time. The black car followed. "Damn it," I muttered. "Is he nearby?" she asked, without taking her eyes off the rear window. "Okay, about 30 meters back." She let out a strange sound, half a laugh, half a sob, then speeded up. I floored it. My Honda's engine groaned, but obeyed. 60, 70, 80 kilometers per hour on an empty commercial street. We passed a closed supermarket, a laundromat with its sign flashing, a parking lot without a single car. I looked in the rearview mirror. The black car sped up as well. It didn't have a license plate. I just realized that, where the front license plate should have been. There was just an empty hole, and the windows were completely tinted, impossible to see who was driving. "Turn left at the next one," she ordered. "How do you know? Turn around." I turned. I skidded a little on the wet curve. The tires squealed on the asphalt. We entered a residential street. Low houses, wooden fences, some yards with toys forgotten on the grass. A normal place, suburban, safe, but it was empty. No lights on, no cars in the garage, as if everyone had vanished. "Now to the right, quick," I obeyed. I don't know why. Something in her voice. It wasn't fear, it was control. As if she knew exactly where she was taking me. "Girl, tell me something." My voice came out trembling. "Who is this person? An ex-boyfriend? Someone you owe money to?" She finally looked ahead. For the first time, I could see her eyes in the rearview mirror. They were light, gray, cold. "Don't ask questions." The black car continued behind, always at the same distance, never closer, never further away, as if it were guiding us. My stomach churned. "Where am I going?" I asked. She smiled. It was almost imperceptible, but I saw it. To a safer place. Safer was a lie. I knew it now. Each street she directed me to turn down was darker than the last, emptier, further from anything that resembled civilization. We were no longer in Portland, at least not the part I knew. We passed an abandoned motel, broken sign, empty pool full of rotting leaves. Then a gas station without a pump, just the rusty metal structure. The fog grew thicker. My car's headlights could barely cut through the white curtain in front, and the black car was still there, always there. "Turn left," she said, pointing to a dirt road. "No." My voice came out firmer than I expected. "I'm not going anywhere else until you tell me what's going on." She was quiet for a moment. Then, slowly, she took off her hood. Short, black hair, plastered to her forehead. Deep, dark circles under her eyes. A recent cut on her lower lip still bleeding. She was young, perhaps 25, 26. Beautiful, if it weren't for her blank expression. "Do you want to know what's going on?" she asked, almost whispering. "Then I'll tell you." She leaned forward, resting her arms on the passenger seat near my shoulder. I could smell her. Sweat, cigarettes, something chemical I couldn't identify. That car. She pointed to the rearview mirror without looking. It's not following me. It's following you. My blood ran cold. What? Did you think it was a coincidence? A VIP ride? A $60 tip in the middle of the night at an address nobody knows? She laughed, but there was no humor in it. You were chosen. My hand trembled on the steering wheel. Chosen for what? To take us to him. Silence. Only the sound of the engine, of the light rain pattering on the window, of my heart pounding in my chest. Who is he? My voice came out weak. She didn't answer. She just looked back at the black car that was now closer. 10 meters, maybe less. I blinked. When I opened my eyes, the car had turned on its headlights. Bright white light, blinding. The rear-view mirror blinded me. I had to look away. My heart raced. I accelerated without thinking. 80, 90, 100 kilometers per hour on a dirt road full of potholes. The car was shaking. Her backpack fell to the ground. That's when I heard it. A sound coming from inside the backpack. Bip, bip, bip. What sound is that? I asked. She looked down, then at me, and smiled. It's a tracker. I felt the air escaping from my lungs. You tracked me? No. She picked up her backpack and slowly unzipped it. I only brought the tracker so it could find you. Inside her backpack, among dirty clothes and an empty bottle, was a small black device flashing red. She held it between her fingers, as if it were the most precious thing in the world. Turn left, she said, pointing to a narrow entrance between trees. I am not going. She pressed something cold against the back of my neck. A knife. Turn. Left. I'll come. The dirt road had turned into a trail. Branches scraped against the sides of the car, scratching the paint. The fog was so thick now that I could barely see 3 meters ahead. Just trees. Darkness. And that damned black car following us, its headlights illuminating the interior of my Honda, as if we were actors on a stage. The knife remained at the back of my neck, cold, firm. How much did he pay you? I asked, trying to keep my voice under control. Did he pay? She laughed, a sharp, broken laugh. He didn't pay me anything. So why are you doing this? Silence. Then, in a whisper that sent shivers down my spine, because if I don't bring someone, he'll come looking for me. My stomach churned. I swallowed hard. I tried to think, to calculate, anything. Stop here, she ordered. Ahead, in the middle of nowhere, stood a shed. Old, rusty metal, half the roof collapsed. No light, no sound, only the rain beating against the loose sheets, creating a hollow, ghostly echo. Turn off the car. Listen, we can. She pressed the knife against me. I felt the tip pierce my skin. A warm drop trickled down my neck. Turn it off. I hung up. The silence was immediate, absolute. Even the rain seemed to have stopped. The black car stopped behind us, about 5 meters away, engine still running, headlights on, pointed directly at us. I couldn't see who was inside. The glass was too opaque. But I could feel it. I could feel that someone was there, watching, waiting. Turn off the headlights, she whispered. I pressed the button. Total darkness. Only the light from the car behind illuminates the fog. She finally took the knife from the back of my neck. She threw it in the back seat. She took a deep breath, as if she had just come out from underwater. Thank you, she said. I turned to look at her. Thank you? For bringing him here. My blood ran cold. Wait. What? She opened the door. She got out slowly, leaving the backpack with the tracker on the seat. She walked towards the black car. Slow steps. Calculated. I should have gotten out of the car. I should have run, but I was paralyzed. The door of the black car opened. Nobody left. but I heard a voice, deep, hoarse, inhuman. "Good job." She stopped. She turned around. She looked at me through the windshield. And she smiled. It wasn't the smile of someone relieved. It was the smile of someone who had just accomplished a task. Of someone who was finally free. She got into the black car. The door closed. And that's when the headlights went out. Complete darkness, no moon, no stars. Only the sound of the rain returning, and of my breathing. I stood there, frozen, waiting. 10 seconds, 20, 30, nothing. I started the car. My hands were shaking so much that I turned the wrong key 3 times. I turned on the headlights. The black car had disappeared. There was no way. I would have heard the engine, seen the lights, felt the vibration, but he wasn't there anymore. I reversed. I turned around. I accelerated back onto the trail, onto the asphalt, to anywhere that had light. I drove for 2 hours non-stop until I saw the first lights of Portland. This happened 3 weeks ago. I didn't go to the police. I know how it sounds. Believe me, I know. But what would I say? A woman forced me to drive to an abandoned warehouse and then disappeared in a ghost car. They would laugh. Or worse, they would have me committed. So I stayed quiet. I tried to get back into the routine. I kept driving. Night shifts, always the same. But it wasn't the same anymore. I looked for the ride in the app's history. That $60 VIP ride. It didn't exist. No record, no payment, nothing. As if it never happened. But the cut on my neck was real. I still have the scar. I run my finger over it every night before bed. I tried to go back to that place, I swear I tried. I took the same route, the same streets, the same dirt road. I couldn't find the shed, nor the trail, nor anything. Just vegetation, trees, darkness. For a week I thought I'd gone crazy, that I'd had a breakdown, stress, exhaustion. I don't know. But then, it happened again. Not with me. I heard it on the news. An app driver disappeared. Last recorded location, Eastern Industrial Zone. The car was found 3 days later, abandoned near an old warehouse. Passenger door open, key in the ignition, engine off. They found something in the back seat, a backpack with a tracker inside. I didn't sleep that night, nor the next. I just kept driving, as if movement could keep me safe. And it was during one of those nights that the cell phone vibrated. VIP race. Tip, $60. Address, East Industrial Zone. My hand trembled. I should refuse. I should turn off the app. Go home, lock the door, never drive at night again. But I didn't do that. Do you know why? Because I saw the passenger's name. That was my name, my full name, my old address, information I never put on the app. I looked in the rearview mirror. There was a car parked on the other side of the street. That's why. Darkened windows, headlights off, and as I watched, the headlights turned on. I accepted the ride. I don't know why. Maybe curiosity, maybe desperation, or maybe because deep down I always knew, since that night, that she wasn't the one being hunted. It was me. I drove to the address. The same street, the same burnt-out lampposts, the same house with the rusty fence. I stopped. I waited. The back door opened. Someone came in. I felt the weight on the seat, the smell, sweat, cigarettes, something chemical. I didn't look in the rearview mirror. It wasn't necessary. I already knew who it was, and this time, there was nowhere to run. There's a reason drivers avoid the last ride of the night. I ignored it, and almost didn't make it home. Something happened to me, and to this day, I can't understand it. My name is Marcus. I'm 32 years old, and I've been driving for a rideshare app for 4 years. It's not glamorous, it doesn't pay well, but it pays the bills, almost all of them. And on that October night in Portland, Oregon, I was 2 days away from having my power cut off and 3 days away from being evicted. It was 2:37 a.m. when I decided to accept just one more ride. I know. Everyone says you shouldn't. My ex said so. My brother said so. Even the app's support has those generic warnings about driver safety. But when you owe $1,300 in back rent and have $23 in your account, you accept it. The request pinged on my phone. Pick up on a residential street in the St. John's neighborhood. Quiet during the day, but dead at night. Destination, airport. Long ride. Potentially good tip. I accepted without thinking too much. It took me 12 minutes to get to the address. Narrow street, old wooden houses, huge trees blocking the lampposts. Only one yellowish light flickering on the porch of a grey house. I parked. I waited. 3 minutes. 5. Nothing. I was about to cancel when the back door slammed open. He came in too quickly. No hi, no thank you. Just the thud of his body on the seat, the door slamming shut, and the sound of heavy breathing. I looked in the rearview mirror. Black hood covering almost the entire face, loose sweatshirt, hands shoved in pockets, broad shoulders, but a hunched posture, like someone trying to disappear. Airport, right? I asked, forcing a casual tone. Silence. Then, softly, almost a whisper. Change your destiny. Guided. Like this? Cancel the airport. I'll give you another address. The voice was cold, controlled, without emotion. Dude, I need you to put it in the app. Otherwise the ride. I'd pay in cash. He threw 3 $20 bills onto the front passenger seat. $60. My hand trembled as I picked up the money. Okay. What's the address? I still don't know. He just drives. My stomach sank. Where are you driving to? Straight ahead. I'll talk later. I should have stopped there. I should have said I was going to cancel. I should have asked him to leave. But I didn't. I started the car. I left that street. I drove straight ahead. And that's how it all began. The first few blocks were normal. Heavy silence, but nothing alarming. He was on his cell phone, or at least pretended to be. I tried not to look in the rearview mirror too much. Then he spoke again. Turn left here. I'll come. Now turn right at the next stop. I obeyed, and I realized he was taking me off the main avenues. Each command led me to darker streets, fewer cameras, fewer people, less light. Dude, this road is weird. Where exactly do you want to go? Silence. Then slowly he spoke. You have a crack in the dashboard. On the right side. It looks like a spider. My blood froze. I have. Ever since I bought the used car. Almost nobody notices it. And there's a picture of your daughter stuck to the parasol. I turned my head to the side. The photo was there. My Chloe, 4 years old, smiling. My voice came out trembling. How do you know that? He leaned slightly forward, and he said, almost whispering, because I've been in that car before. My hand gripped the steering wheel so tightly that my fingers turned white. When? When were you in my car? He didn't answer immediately. He just stayed there, leaning back as if he was savoring my fear. Last week, Wednesday, you picked me up near Union Station, short ride. I got off on Morrison Street. I tried to remember. Last Wednesday. I did 17 runs that day. Blurred faces, forgotten names, empty conversations. I don't remember you. I know, but I remember you, Marcus. My name. He said my name. Sure, it's on the app. Any passenger can see it. But the way he spoke, personal, intimate, as if he really knew me. Look, I don't know what game this is, but turn right. Now. It wasn't a request. It was an order. I hesitated. My foot almost hit the brake. Almost. But I will come. We entered an industrial street. Abandoned warehouses on both sides, streetlights out, cracked asphalt, no cars, not a soul in sight. Dude, I'm going to pull over. You get out. We'll end this here. I tried to sound firm, but my voice failed me. He leaned forward, closer to my neck. I felt the warmth of his breath. You're not going to stop. Yes, I'll go. You're 2 months behind on your car payments, Marcus, and your insurance expired 5 days ago. If you stop now, you'll lose everything. How did he know that? My heart was pounding in my chest. Sweat was running down the back of my neck. Who are you? Silence. Who are you? He leaned back again as if nothing had happened. Keep driving. Straight. I should have jumped out of the car. I should have called the police. I should have screamed. But my mind was in pure panic, and my body just obeyed. I drove. The streets became even more deserted. No cell phone signal, no Wi-Fi, just darkness and the low rumble of the engine. That's when I saw it, in the rearview mirror. Lighthouses, a car, behind me, keeping a safe distance. Same speed. I shrunk it. He shrunk it. I sped up a little. He sped up. Someone is following us. The passenger didn't move. I know. My voice cracked. Do you know who's in that car? He turned his face toward the glass, just enough for me to see the outline of his chin in the shadow. Try. Who is it? Silence again. Then he said something that destroyed me. Turn left here. Then slow down. When I tell you to, pull over. My stomach churned. No. Slope, Marcus. I said no. My voice came out in a sharp, desperate scream. He leaned in again, this time closer. I felt his cold breath on my ear. Do you think you have a choice? I turned left. My hands were trembling. Tears were beginning to blur my vision. The car behind us flipped over too. It was closer now, much closer. High beams, directly in my eyes through the rearview mirror. Slow down. I should disobey. I should speed up. I should crash the car. Anything. But I slowed down. The car behind me rear-ended my bumper. And then the passenger spoke, calmly, almost gently. Now pull over. I pulled over. Not because I wanted to, because my body went into autopilot. Pure terror taking control. The car stopped on a dead-end side street. Rusty metal sheds on one side, a vacant lot on the other. No lights, no sound except the idling engine. The car behind stopped 3 meters away. Headlights still on, blinding me in the rearview mirror. My breathing was erratic, rapid, shallow. I felt like air wasn't reaching my lungs. What do you want from me? My voice came out broken. The passenger didn't answer. He just stood there, motionless, like a statue. Then I heard it. A door is opening. From the car behind, steps, slow, deliberate, approaching. I locked the doors in a desperate reflex. The passenger turned his head toward me. His face was still covered by his hood. It won't do any good. Please. I have a daughter. She's 4 years old. I'm just trying to survive, man. I didn't do anything. I know you didn't. Then why? Why are you doing this to me? He tilted his head slightly as if pondering the answer. Because you were available. The words hit me like a punch. The footsteps stopped beside my window. I didn't look. I couldn't. I just stared at the steering wheel, trembling, tears streaming down my face, knocking on the window. 3 punches, firm, controlled. A muffled voice from outside. Open! I shook my head in despair. No. The passenger in the back seat sighed. Then he spoke, almost wearily. Marcus, you have 2 options. Open the door, or we break the glass. The choice is yours. My hand was shaking so much I could barely hold the doorknob. I looked in the rearview mirror. I tried to see the face of the person outside, but the headlights blinded everything. I could only see a silhouette, tall, wide, standing still, waiting. Am I going to die here? Silence. Am I going to die here? The passenger leaned forward again. This time he took off his hood, and I saw his face. Early 30s, deep-set eyes, stubble, a thin scar running across his eyebrow, an empty expression. He looked directly at me, without blinking. It depends on what you do in the next 2 minutes. Another knock on the window, louder. Marcus, open. I placed my hand on the latch. I hesitated. Who are you? Who's out there? What do you want? He didn't answer any of the questions. I only said, you picked the wrong person last week. My mind was spinning. Last week. Wednesday. 17 races. Who? Who was it? I don't remember. I swear I don't remember. She remembers you. She? I didn't do anything. I just drove. She got off at the wrong address, and you didn't wait. I tried to process it. It didn't make sense. I always hope. I always confirm. Not that night. I am not. She was attacked, Marcus. 2 blocks from where you left her. My stomach dropped. No. I didn't know. I know. But that doesn't change anything. The voice from outside spoke again. Last chance. Open. I looked at the passenger, searching for pity, humanity, anything. He looked away, and he whispered, sorry, right to the door. It opened violently. Hands pulled me out with brutal force. My knees hit the asphalt. Pain exploded in my wrists as they held me down. I screamed. Nobody heard. And then, a female voice. Hoarse. Broken. You left me alone. I raised my head. She was there, standing, in front of the headlights, trembling silhouette. I recognized the face. Wednesday, Morrison Street, race number 9 of the day. She asked to get off. I stopped. She got off. I left. I'm very sorry. My voice was a whisper. You drove away, and he was waiting. She started walking towards me, slowly, and I realized this wasn't going to end well. She stopped a meter away from me. Under the harsh light of the headlights, I saw everything. The purple bruise around the left eye, the poorly healed cut on the lip, the dirty bandage covering part of the neck, and the eyes. God, her eyes, empty, but at the same time burning with something I couldn't name. Anger, pain, madness. Do you remember me now? My voice came out in a strangled whisper. I remember. Say my name. I tried. I really tried. But names don't stick. They never stick. It's just notifications, blurred faces, stars and tips. I don't know. She took a step forward. Sarah, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I swear that you didn't wait. You said it was there. You confirmed it. I asked you to wait until I go inside the building. I tried to remember. I tried. But that night, I had 4 more rides waiting. The algorithm penalizes those who are late. I couldn't waste any more time. I thought you were safe. She crouched down in front of me, so close I could smell cigarette smoke and cold sweat. He emerged from the shadows 5 seconds after you left. My throat closed up. He dragged me into the alley. He beat me until I stopped screaming. He cut me here. She pointed to her neck. He said he was going to kill me slowly. But someone turned on a light in a window. He ran. I survived. Tears streamed down my face. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. 6 stitches in the neck, fractured jaw, 3 broken ribs. Each word was like a hammer blow. But do you know the worst part, Marcus? I looked at her. I couldn't speak. I still remember your face in the rearview mirror, smiling, looking at your phone, thinking about the next race. No, it wasn't like that. That's exactly how it was. She stood up. She made a gesture. The guy in the back, the hooded passenger, came closer and pulled me back towards the car. He pressed my body against the hood of the car. He gripped my wrists tightly. "What are you going to do to me?" Sarah crossed her arms. She stared at me. "What do you think we should do?" I wasn't to blame. It was an accident. I didn't. But you had a choice, Marcus. You chose to leave. Everyone does it. App drivers can't wait. We lose money. We get penalized. I almost died. Heavy silence. My head fell. I had nothing more to say. She walked around the car. She opened the driver's side door. She sat in my seat. "What are you doing?" She adjusted the seat. She looked in the rearview mirror. She touched the photo of my daughter. "Chloe, right?" My heart stopped. "No, don't touch her. Please." "Pretty. Looks like you." "Sarah, please. Is she 4 years old?" It has. Does she need her father?" Yes, she needs it." Sarah looked at me through the glass, a hard expression. "I also needed to get home that night." She started the car. No! What are you going to do?" The hooded man let go of me. I took 2 steps toward the car. Sarah locked the doors. "Sarah, stop. Please." She put it in first place. "Sarah!" The car started moving. I ran after it. I yelled. I banged on the metal. She sped up. I tripped. I fell. The asphalt scraped my knees, my hands. I looked up in time to see my car, my only source of income, my only way to survive, disappearing into the darkness. The other car was still there, engine running, headlights illuminating me. The hooded man approached. I fell to my knees, weak, unable to react. He stopped beside me. "She's just going for a walk." I looked at him, confused. To feel what it's like, to be alone, in the dark, not knowing if anyone will come back. He threw my cell phone on the ground, cracked screen. "But she'll be back. You're lucky." He got into the car, and he left. I was left alone, on a street with no name, no traffic light, no one around, just me, and the emptiness, and the sound of my own breathing. I don't know how long I stayed there. Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe an hour. The cold asphalt shivered up my legs. The silence was so profound, I could hear my own heart. I picked up the phone. Cracked screen, but it still worked. No signal. Battery at 8%. I tried to stand up. My legs were trembling. Scraped knees bled through my torn pants. I looked around. Empty warehouses. Total darkness. No sound of cars. No distant lights. I started walking. I didn't know where to go. I just walked. Each footstep echoed. Each shadow seemed to move. Each gust of wind sounded like a breath. 20 minutes later, I saw lights. An avenue. Cars passing by. Normal life. I ran to the sidewalk. I waved down a taxi. It didn't stop. I waved to another one. Nothing. He must have looked like a madman, dirty, bleeding, desperate. Finally, a car stopped. It wasn't a taxi. It was an old minivan. The driver was elderly, with a suspicious look. "Are you okay?" "I was robbed. I need help. Please." He hesitated, but he opened the door. I got in. I was shaking the whole way. He took me to a gas station on MLK Boulevard. I thanked him. I don't know if he heard me. I sat on the curb by the gas station. I called the police. I filed a police report. I described everything. I gave the names. Sarah, the address of the ride, the car behind. The police officer wrote everything down, tired expression. "And they took your car. Try. Did they physically hurt you?" "They held me down. They threw me to the ground. But did they threaten him with a weapon?" "No, but did they steal anything besides the car?" No. But the way they... He closed the block. I'll register it as vehicle theft. If the car turns up, we'll let you know. And the woman, Sarah, she said where she lived. We're going to investigate. But without a license plate, without a full last name, without concrete proof of assault. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. I knew what it meant. Nothing was going to happen. 3 hours later, my car showed up, parked 2 blocks from my house. Key in ignition, full tank, everything intact, except for one thing. There was a note on the driver's seat, crumpled paper, handwritten, black ink. Now you know what it's like to wait alone. I crumpled up the ticket. I threw it away. I got in the car. I locked the doors. I drove home. I didn't sleep that night, not even in the next one. I went back to work 2 days later. I had no choice. The bills kept piling up. But everything changed. Now I examine every face, every hood, every voice. When someone enters without speaking, my heart races. When they ask me to change the route, my hands sweat. When I see a car following me, even by chance, I almost panic. And there's something worse. Every time I leave a passenger alone at night, I check in the rearview mirror, and I hope so, until you see the person enter the building, or turn on a light, or wave, because now I know. I know what happens when you least expect it. Last week, I picked up a passenger at the airport. Woman in her 30s, large purse, tired eyes. She came in, said goodnight quietly, and stayed on her phone for the rest of the trip. When we arrived at our destination, a dark residential building, almost without lighting, she left quickly. Thanks. I was leaving. But something made me speak. Wait. She turned around. Do you want me to wait until you come in? She seemed surprised. No need. It's right next door. I know, but I hope. She hesitated. Then she nodded. I stood there, engine running, watching. She walked to the gate, typed in the password, entered, waved. Only then did I leave. I don't know what Sarah wanted to prove. I don't know if it was revenge, justice, distorted therapy, but it worked. Now, every night I look in the rearview mirror, and I see ghosts. Sometimes it's Sarah, sometimes it's the guy in the hoodie, sometimes it's someone new. But they are always there, in the faces that get into my car, in the voices that change course, in the cars that pull up behind me. I know it's not real, but that doesn't change anything. Because there are nights when I feel like someone is watching me again, taking notes, waiting, planning the next race. I still drive. I still accept night rides, because I still need to pay the bills. But now, I always wait. And every time a passenger boards with a hood up, in a hurry, looking at their cell phone, my heart stops. And I think, it's today that they're coming back. But so far, nothing has happened. Until now. If you work the night shift, tell me where. And if you've ever been through something similar, you already know what to do.